Close your eyes and picture a caveman. Hunched over, grunting, dragging a club, dragging a woman by her hair, too stupid to do anything but hit things. Now here's the truth. That creature never existed. We made him up. And almost everything you were taught about early humans is wrong. The real ones were smarter, kinder, and more like you than you would ever believe. This video is every myth about cavemen and the shocking truth behind each one. By the end, the joke will not be on them. It will be on us. Let us start with the biggest lie of all. Myth 1. They were stupid. We imagine early humans as barely thinking brutes. But their brains were the same size as ours. Neanderthal brains were actually a little bigger. These people planned hunts, made complex tools with many steps, and even manufactured glue by heating tree bark, a process so tricky that modern scientists struggled to recreate it. Picture that. A so-called dumb caveman was doing basic chemistry, controlling temperature to turn bark into adhesive, tens of thousands of years before anyone wrote a single word. Here is why this matters. They were not less intelligent than you. They had the exact same mental horsepower. The only thing they were missing was thousands of years of accumulated knowledge to build on. Give a caveman baby a modern life, and it would grow up and blend in perfectly. You would never know. Next, myth 2. They were weak and died young. We picture them as fragile, barely surviving. In reality, they were tougher than almost any human alive today. Neanderthals endured the full force of the Ice Age, hunting massive, dangerous animals up close, with muscles and bone density that would put a modern athlete to shame. And the idea that they all died at 20 is misleading. Many died young from accidents and hard living, but those who made it through could reach old age. Archaeologists have found the skeletons of elderly individuals, worn down, toothless, who lived for years in a state where they could not have fed themselves. Which leads straight to the next myth, and the one that will surprise you most. Next, myth 3. They did not care about each other. We imagine a brutal, every man for himself world. The bones say the opposite. Remember that toothless elderly person who could not feed themselves? The only reason they lived so long is that someone else fed them, protected them, and cared for them for years. In one famous case, scientists found a Neanderthal man who had survived with a withered arm, a leg injury, and likely blind in one eye. He could not have hunted or survived alone. Yet he lived to an old age. His group kept him alive because they wanted to. Here is why this matters. Compassion, looking after the weak, caring for someone who can give you nothing back, is often held up as the height of being human. And it was already there, tens of thousands of years ago, in the people we call brutes. They did not abandon their weak. They carried them. Next, myth 4. They had no medicine and no doctors. This one is stunning. Early humans performed surgery. Specifically, a procedure called trepanation, drilling a hole into a living person's skull, likely to relieve pressure after a head injury. This sounds like a death sentence. It was not. Because when archaeologists examine these ancient skulls, they find something incredible. Over 70% of them show healed bone around the hole. That means the patient survived the surgery and lived for years afterward. Stone Age humans were cutting into skulls, and their patients were waking up and recovering. They also knew plant medicine. Analysis of hardened plaque on Neanderthal teeth has found traces of natural painkillers, the same substance found in aspirin, and even a type of mold that produces a natural antibiotic. A sick Neanderthal was, in a sense, dosing themselves with early versions of the medicines in your cabinet today. Next, myth 5. They could not make art or think in symbols. We assume art was invented by advanced, modern people. But the caves of early humans are covered in breathtaking paintings of animals, full of movement and skill. They made jewelry from shells and animal teeth. They ground up minerals to make red and yellow paint. They carved figures of things that did not even exist. Picture someone deep in a pitch-black cave, holding a small flame, carefully painting a herd of horses across the stone wall, purely to create something beautiful or meaningful. That is not the behavior of a dull mind. That is a soul. Here is why this matters. Art is proof of imagination, of symbolic thought, of an inner world. The caveman we mock was standing in the dark, making beauty, while we picture him too simple to think. Next, myth 6. They lived in caves and dragged women by the hair. Even the name is wrong. Most early humans did not live deep in caves. They lived in the open, in camps, in shelters and huts they built, sometimes using mammoth bones as a frame. We call them cavemen only because caves protected their art and bones long enough for us to find them. The evidence survived in caves. The people mostly did not live there. And the club-swinging man dragging a woman by her hair? That image is not ancient at all. It was essentially invented by cartoonists and artists a little over 100 years ago. It is a modern joke, not a historical fact. There is no evidence for it whatsoever. Why this matters: a huge part of the caveman in your head was drawn by a cartoonist in the last century, not discovered by a scientist. We did not inherit the truth about early humans. We inherited a punchline. Next, myth 7. They could not speak. We imagine only grunts. But early humans had the physical equipment for speech, including a small throat bone, nearly identical to ours, that is essential for talking. They carried the same key gene linked to language that we do. And think logically. You cannot teach someone to make fire, craft glue, plan a group hunt, and perform surgery using only grunts. That requires teaching. Teaching requires language. They almost certainly talked, told stories, argued, joked, and passed down knowledge with words, around fires, in a language we will never get to hear. Now the most important idea, the one that ties every myth together. Ask yourself where the stupid caveman actually comes from. Not from the bones. Not from the caves. The evidence shows intelligent, artistic, caring, medical, talking people. The dumb brute was invented by us, in the last century or two, for one simple reason. It makes us feel superior. Every era loves to look back and think how primitive they were, how much smarter we are now. But here is the truth that should humble you. The only real difference between you and a person from 40,000 years ago is not your brain. Your brain is the same. It is not your intelligence. That is the same too. The only difference is that you were handed 40,000 years of borrowed knowledge for free. The language, the numbers, the science, the tools, all of it built up by others and simply given to you at birth. Strip that away, drop yourself alone into the ice age with nothing, and you would not last a week doing what they did every single day. So the next time someone says caveman as an insult, remember, they painted, they healed, they cared for their dying, and they survived a frozen world with their bare hands. They were not a lesser version of us. They were us, without the head start. And that is far more impressive than anything we gave them credit for. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, subscribe for more videos like this.